Kamala Harris is knowledgeable about guns and the Constitution. Welcome to Guns, Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I am Gary Gunderson.
You know, people think, oh, a bullet just goes in and out. No. It goes through the human body. It damages vital organs. One can do that, much less what an assault weapon does.
What does that even mean?
Have you shot a gun?
Yes, I have.
Well, tell us about the last time.
No.
No, but do you like hunt or like what do you do?
I'm a good marksman. Yes, I have shot a gun many times.
You're a good marks person with a pistol or a rifle?
A pistol. And that's it. I'm not going any further with this.
Well, although this is a form of a disease, to be sure.
And dare I say, study what happened here at Stoneman Douglas. Looking at it in the context of what we are doing, in terms of what are the protocols when there is an active shooter drilled, and have we trained everyone appropriately?
Wait, that last part, that's reasonable. But here she is saying things that completely contradict that, such as calling these drills traumatizing.
Where you learned about how you need to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner in the event that there is a mass shooter roaming the hallways of your school. Look at that. It is traumatizing.
Teachers should not have to know how to treat a gunshot wound. And teachers should not be told that lives would have been saved if only you had a gun.
Well, you know, the solution here, strap a gun to the teacher. Our teachers want to teach. Our teachers want to teach.
And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools.
But that we also do not allow people to conflate the two as though if you deal with mental health, you don't need to deal with smart gun safety laws. We can't get seduced into that because it's a tactic continuously coming from the NRA to say, oh, no, we don't need smart gun safety laws. You just need to deal with mental health.
I think it is also defined by the existence of a constitution and a love of that constitution and an adherence to the principles of that constitution.
What would you do about the millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation? What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We've got to do it the right way.
And an adherence to the principles of that constitution.
You can respect the Second Amendment. You can respect the traditions of hunting among families in our country and proud traditions. You can respect all that and understand the Constitution of the United States in a way that is an interpretation as it relates not only to what maybe the original writers anticipated, but as it relates to today, understanding the Constitution is a living document and that its principles must be applied to the realities of today. And the reality of today on this issue is that we have an epidemic that is within our grasp to control and stop. And so this is not in conflict with the Second Amendment because there has to be a balancing that takes place.
I think it is also defined by the existence of a constitution and a love of that constitution and an adherence to the principles of that constitution.
Is there no concern that some of these executive actions that you would take if elected, another president comes in 4 years later of the opposing party and just undoes those executive actions?
Craig, I will deal with that 8 years from now. So come to me with this problem in 8 years, but right now I'm fixing to do something about it.
If it's 8 years later and you are no longer president, you wouldn't be able to stop the next person from undoing executive orders. She literally does not care beyond what she can claim for herself while in office.
It is an issue that cannot be approached from an ideological perspective or a partisan perspective. Some of the very people who refuse to engage in a meaningful debate and discussion on this,
1 minute later,
or pretending that this is some intellectual, ideological debate when there is literally blood on the streets.
And her name is Gabby Giffords, is shot and so debilitated. How is it that her colleagues, out of their own self-interest, if nothing else that is about humanity, how is it they don't act? And require them to look at those photographs and then vote your conscience.
Maybe they aren't acting in their so-called self-interest because they support the Constitution and Second Amendment. But when they don't vote for exactly what you think, they are just listening to the gun lobby and could have no other possible reason for supporting gun rights.
You know, the way that I have always thought about this issue, and so many others, is through the eyes of a child.
And here she is trying to get ideas for gun control from a child.
What do you think the rules should be?
You should run a test to see if they're going to be responsible with the guns or not.
That is excellent.
The civil right, the right that all communities should have to live in a place that is safe without weapons of war running those streets.
The right to be safe should be thought of as a civil right. And a human right, I heard somebody in the audience say, and it is about freedom, right? And including, and this is a very maybe simple point, but I think very important, the freedom to just be.
This is a talking point that you see more and more, that there's a right to be free from gun violence, and somehow we need to balance this imaginary right against the Second Amendment. This is nonsense. The government cannot protect you all the time, and in fact is sometimes the one oppressing you, which is why firearms are important. But if you can't get what you want federally, Harris pushes for it on a smaller scale.
In California, I have been a leader along with so many others in getting smart gun safety laws passed at a state level.
So part of why I'm here today is to challenge every state. Pass a red flag law.
While Attorney General, she was pushing for more federal legislation. Meanwhile, she had a backlog of over 20,000 known felons with firearms in California. Yes, they knew about 20,000 people illegally possessing firearms and are still pushing for more gun control.
A list of people who are designated as armed and prohibited persons because they are individuals who we know have purchased a gun, but are also individuals who were convicted of a felony and thereby prohibited from owning or possessing a gun. Address that as a priority, and in the next 3 years in particular, eliminate the backlog. And currently we have approximately 20,000 individuals who are on that list.
Maybe focus on enforcing the gun laws on the books first to see if that helps. She even called for a ban on gun shows in San Francisco because people were illegally selling firearms in the parking lot.
We want the state of California to recognize San Franciscans are dying in the streets, and there is an absolute and direct connection between those deaths and the sale of guns happening here at the Cow Palace.
So because people commit a crime at a public venue, that type of public venue should be banned? That means any gathering of like more than 5 people would be banned.
And we need to have Congress stop protecting those gun manufacturers with the liability shield.
And I think it is also reasonable, as a former prosecutor, to say that it is reasonable to say that the gun manufacturers should not have immunity from litigation. That right there.
This is nonsense, as they can be held liable if it malfunctions, just not if someone commits a crime with it.
An assault weapon is designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly.
Like a lot of her points, this is something she comes back to again and again.
Let's be really clear about this. An assault weapon was designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. It's the design of the thing. There is no legitimate reason or purpose for them to be on the streets of a civil society. It's a weapon of war.
Ignoring the obvious point that they are generally semi-automatic versions of weapons of war and not issued versions, yes, they are. And the military has them, and the police have them, and part of the Second Amendment is to prevent tyranny, so they have an important place in keeping that civil society civil. But what do I know? She is obviously a learned expert in the field of firearms. That's all I have for today. If you've made it to the end of the video, please consider supporting me on Patreon, joining my Discord, subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing it with others to help the channel grow. I also have similar videos about politicians and what they have said about gun control and gun rights you can check out on the playlist as well. Thanks for watching.